Thinking about moving to a golf community in Austin, Texas, but don't know which one to choose? Well, don't you worry, we have you covered. We're going to tell you all about the pros and the cons, the good and the bad, is it hot or not, of Onion Creek today. Yes, we are going to tell you whether you should move there or you should not move there. Stick around, we're getting started right now. If this is your first time to our channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Austin, Texas, then subscribe below and tap the bell so you get notified when we have new information for you. Hi, my name is Nicole Cooper, and my team and I get calls from people just like you needing help finding a home in a new neighborhood, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're looking to move in 9 or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. We are always available to help you find that perfect home for your lifestyle. Now let's get started on Onion Creek. Is it hot or not? All right, so first things first, we're going to dive down here into the map just so you can see where it is we're talking about. Here is downtown Austin. This is IH-35. That's the north and south route that goes basically from Mexico to Canada. And here is Onion Creek, just inside the interstate. We have McKinney Falls State Park here and the airport right there. So it's super convenient if you have to travel a lot. Before we get started on the pros and the cons, I want to let you know just a little bit about the neighborhood. On average, homes sell for about $630,000, which puts it about $225 a square foot. Homes on average are around 2,700 square feet, and they're on about a quarter acre of a lot. The community started back in the 70s, and it's kind of like flourished in the 70s and 80s, so now you don't have too many new construction homes in there because it was completely built out, but you do have some wonderful remodels and some gorgeous homes in the Onion Creek community. All right, so that leads us to our first pro. Where are we going to start? The best thing, or one of the great things, the pro number one about living in Onion Creek is the absolute, just laid back, beautiful lifestyle down there. You feel like you're out in the country, yet you're right next to town. The streets that you drive down have these huge towering oak trees that kind of hang over the street. The trees there are so old, the community is it's just really vibrant with the growth and the tradition that they have down there. So in the community also, because you're right in nature, you're going to have wild turkeys, deer, fox, squirrels. I mean, it's like living just in a bit of wildlife. It's super fun. The animals are all around all the time. You'd be surprised. Pro number two, the country club amenities. If you're a member of the country club, you have access to a beautiful large swimming pool and kiddie pool. You have multiple tennis courts, some clay courts, and pickleball courts, of course, and then you have 27 holes of championship golf. Jimmy DeMeritt was the architect back in the early 70s, and he created the original 18 holes that hosted the Legends of Golf tournament back in the 80s. They've since then added another 9 holes, so you hardly will ever get tired of playing because you're going to mix and match the 3 nines as you go. The third great thing about living in Onion Creek is the outdoor recreation. There are sidewalks throughout the neighborhood, and it seems like everyone in the community walks in the mornings and the evenings, and almost everybody has a dog that I've ever seen. So it's very walking friendly. There's gentle rolling hills, nothing too crazy to have to hike up or down. You're next to parks. You're in between the McKinney Falls State Park and the Mary Moore Seawright Park. In fact, I'll show you that on the map right quick. So again, here is Onion Creek neighborhood right here. Here's McKinney Falls State Park, and then you have the Mary Moore Seawright Park there. And they both have hiking trails inside them. They both have picnic and playground areas for the kids. McKinney Falls State Park is actually really pretty. I'll just show you one picture here before we get going. So when it does rain here, when the water is full, you can go and swim, and it's absolutely gorgeous down there. The fourth pro for living in Onion Creek is it's super safe. My parents live down there, and I don't think I've ever locked my car when I've gone in to visit them. It's not a gated community, but they do have a 24-hour security officer that drives the neighborhood all the time, and he'll call you and tell you that you forgot to put your garage door down, or if he sees anything funny at all, he or she sees anything funny at all, they call it in. So it's just a super, super safe neighborhood. Number 5, our last pro, is its proximity to Austin. I mean, really, you're no more than 10 miles to downtown Austin. So this one is both a pro and a con, because the pro is you're not really that far, but it can be a con because you have to mostly get on IH-35 to get the straight shot into downtown. And basically everyone south of here, from San Antonio, New Braunfels, San Marcos, Kyle, Buda, all those towns that's the way they come into Austin too, up north on IH-35. So there's many times where IH-35 can just be at a standstill. It kind of bottlenecks right there. So if you don't have to go at a time of day where there's a lot of traffic, then yes, this is a pro. You're super close to downtown. But know that pro can turn into a con quickly if traffic gets super backed up. All right, what's not so hot about Onion Creek? Now, you've got to, not every neighborhood can be perfect, and this neighborhood does have a couple of cons. Our first con is that the neighborhood floods. So you have to be very careful on the front end and do your due diligence and make sure the house is not in the floodplain. We had a major flood in 2013 on Halloween, and people were taken out by boat. We had 10 inches in like 24 hours, so the rivers and creek bed, everything swole like 10. It was just crazy fast. And because it was so fast, some people weren't able to get out in time. And so therefore, you really have to be paying attention to where the home is in the floodplain. At the southern part of the neighborhood, here I'll show you in the map real quick. The southern portion of the neighborhood down here, that's actually on the creek, and those are the homes that were affected the most during that flood. The creek does run through the middle of the neighborhood as well, so there are just a few homes at the back part that are affected by flooding, but you just have to know on the front end, just don't get in the floodplain and you'll be fine. But it is something you really have to pay attention to. Con number 2, this happens on most of the outskirts of Austin anyway, but there is very limited public transportation. So you're going to need a car if you live down there, because there is no train that goes down there, and the buses are kind of more up on the highway. They don't really come to the neighborhood. You do have school buses, so if you're worried about the kids getting into schools and things like that, that's not a problem, but just the actual public buses for transportation, not so much. That's definitely a con for Onion Creek. Speaking of schools, you can go either way. This can be a pro or a con. The elementary and middle school have the dual language program with English and Spanish, so that's pretty cool. That's a pro. However, the middle school and high school aren't ranked quite so high as you might want, and I'm going to show you down here what the grades are. So first of all, for the elementary school, it's pretty good, 94 out of 100. They have the dual language program there. Their enrollment's pretty large at 1,010 students, and that puts it at about 14 students per teacher. The middle school, however, doesn't have a rating that's accepted by this system, but we can tell how many students they have. It's 752, and that puts it about 13 and a half students per teacher. And then the high school is Aikens. They do have a good STEM program and a couple of other college prep courses or college prep systems, but they're getting 87 out of 100 for their overall rating. They have an enrollment of 2,637, and that puts it at 16.2 students per teacher. Our pros for Onion Creek. It is a wonderful suburban, quiet neighborhood with gorgeous trees and landscaping and just a really nice, quiet community. The second one is the country club has great amenities. It's very conducive to having outdoor activities. Everyone in the neighborhood walks. You're in between McKinney Falls State Park and Marymore Seawright Park, and it's super safe. What makes the community not so hot is you do have a little bit of flooding in the neighborhood. You have to be very careful where you buy the home. There's not really very good public transportation, and the schools are probably ranked a little bit lower than what our average Austin schools are in the other Gulf communities. So I want to know, do you think this community is hot or not? If you think it's hot and want to see some more homes with us, we are always available to help you find the perfect home that fits your lifestyle. Until next time, I hope to see you around town.